up? My name is Matthew Makak, and this is Teach the Teach 101 on the Dice Tower, where I teach you different tips and tricks on how to teach board games. And in this episode, I want to cover if you get rules wrong while teaching, or if you forget to say a rule while teaching the game, which happens a lot to me. Especially by the way I tend to teach games. So if you're familiar with my segment, you know that I like teaching as I'm playing, as we're going along through the game, and teaching rules bit by bit. But this could happen even if you're somebody who teaches everything beforehand, right? So what do you do when you've messed up a rule and everybody's yelling at you and they hate you? Well, one of the things I want to cover is when you actually forget a rule and you're going on and then you realize like, oh, I forgot that they could like take this action to like, you could spend 2 coins to convert it into whatever resource you need. I don't know. I just made that up. Lots of games kind of do that, right? But so let's say you forgot that. I would say, and let's say it's like a beneficial moment for you to do this, right? I would say don't take the action, but let the players know, like, by the way, I forgot you could do this. You could exchange the 2 coins for whatever resource you want. Now, I'm not going to do that action right now, but just know that going forth, we can all do this. And that's just something I forgot to do. People might, like whine and whatever, like, oh, well, that would have been useful to know, but, it happens. At that point, you could just be like, well, then you could teach the game. But that was a really good comment that I got on another Teach the Teach episode that I received, or that I came out with. I received this comment and I was like, yes, that is such a good tip. So I wanted to make like a whole video about this. They spoke about like forgetting rules or rules mistakes and things like that. So I thought I would bring that to the video. So that's a really good tip. If you've forgotten to say a rule, just letting players know, hey, you could do this. But don't you take that action right now because nobody else had that information. And like the commenter said, I'm going to actually read it right here. They said, because losing from something you were not even taught about can make a terrible first experience with a game, which is so true. That is not what you want when you're teaching a game. You want it to be an amazing, awesome first experience because, first impressions are everything, people. Now, what do you do when you mess up a rule? Like you actually got it wrong. Instead of 2 coins, it was actually 1 coin to exchange for a resource. This happens to me a lot too, where I'll mess up a rule. There's a lot of rules, lots of games and everything, so it's inevitable. It's okay to mess up a rule. It doesn't mean that you're a terrible teacher, number one. Not every teach is going to be perfect. I know certainly for me, not every teach is perfect. And that's okay. That'll happen. You're a human being who makes mistakes. So again, like, what do you do when you have messed up a rule like that? I would say it depends, right? It depends on what the rule was that you messed up. Like, is it game breaking? If it's not, I would say keep to the rule that you've already been doing, right? So if you've been playing like exchange 2 coins for 1 resource, but it's actually just 1 coin, keep to playing with just 2 coins for the rest of the game, knowing that for the next time you play, it's actually just 1 coin for a resource. Again, I'm making this rule up. I don't know where I'm getting this from, but it is what it is. Now, if it is, because that, by the way, like just maintaining whatever rule you've been going with can be beneficial in many ways, because I come from like a mental health background, and I've done like psychology research papers and things. So if an experiment goes wrong, but like if everything has the same thing that's wrong with it, you just stick with it because everything has the same thing happening to it. So that's okay, right? It still like balances out everybody's playing field, which is really what you want. Everybody wants to have a fair shot at the game. Now, if it was game breaking and you've totally messed up the rule, that's a little harder to come back from. You could, if you're able to, you could try to fix things like, okay, how about this, blah, 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 or you give people certain benefits, or like maybe there was asymmetric powers where this person actually would have benefited from that one coin per resource action a lot more so, and that's maybe why they're actually behind now. Give them something, right? Like give them benefits or whatever. Like say like, okay, you know what? Just take like 3 resources of your choice right now for free. You know, things like that. If you could fix it in a way that everybody is like cool with, then awesome, go for it. Otherwise, there's not a whole lot you could do other than apologize, beg for their forgiveness, plead for them to continue playing games with you. But otherwise, yeah, I mean, it happens, you know, and if they have taught games, they'll be understanding. If they've never taught games, then you tell them, well, you don't understand how hard it is to teach games. But yeah, those are sort of my tips for what you do if you've forgotten a rule or if you've messed up a rule. Mostly just trying to make it the fairest playing field that you can do, and making sure everybody is having fun anyway. Sometimes you'll forget a rule or you'll realize that you mistaught a rule after you're done playing the game. That happens to me all the time where I'm like looking at the rule book and I'm like, oh, snap, I totally messed that up. And then I send a text to the group and I say, hey, by the way, we actually messed up this rule. And then I get a lot of text back saying like, thanks a lot, Matt, once again, you know. But it becomes like a funny thing. Everybody had a good time anyway, and that's really the point of playing games anyway. So that is it for this episode. Thank you so much for watching. I will catch you next time. Please let me know down in the comments below, what are some tips that you like to give when, or tricks that you like to use when you mess up rules. I'll catch you next time.